Stop everything you are doing right now. If you think the headlines you woke up to this morning, the ones claiming victory, the ones telling you everything is under control, are telling you the truth, you are in grave danger. You need to see this right now because the mainstream media is absolutely refusing to cover the reality of what just happened in the Persian Gulf. They are calling it a win. Donald Trump is calling it a win. But as a former Marine Corps intelligence officer who spent years on the ground analyzing theater level conflicts, I am here to tell you that what we just witnessed was the most sophisticated trap ever laid for the United States military. By the time this video ends, you will understand exactly why the victory you're being sold is actually the beginning of the end for American dominance in the Middle East. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal, the numbers, the coordinates, and the secret intelligence coming out of Tehran, changes everything you thought you knew about our national security. But before I show you the data the Pentagon is trying to scrub from the internet, we have to look at how we got here. We have to look at the lie that set this entire powder keg off. For decades, you've been told that Iran is a third-rate power. You've been told their missiles are bottle rockets and their drones are lawnmowers with wings. That was the narrative when the U.S. withdrew from the JCPOA, and it's the narrative Trump is leaning on today. He's telling the American public that Iran backed down. He's claiming that his maximum pressure worked. But I've been analyzing these theaters for 30 years. In my time in military intelligence, I learned one thing. When your opponent goes silent, it's not because they're afraid. It's because they're calculating. While the media was busy talking about tweets and rallies, Iran was engaging in Operation True Promise 4. They weren't looking for a news cycle win. They were looking for a structural collapse of the U.S. defense umbrella. And here's the part no one else will tell you. The strikes we saw last night, those weren't the main event. They were a diagnostic test, and we failed that test. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. in the Negev. It's 3 a.m. at the Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Suddenly, the radar screens, the most expensive Aegis and THAAD systems your tax dollars can buy, begin to light up like a Christmas tree. I'm talking about Wave 55, not one or two missiles. I'm talking about a saturation strike of 120 Fatah 2 hypersonic missiles cutting through the atmosphere at Mach 15. The sound, it's not a whistle. It's a physical pressure that collapses the lungs of anyone within a mile of the launch site. The sky over Tel Aviv and the U.S. forward operating bases didn't just turn orange, it turned a blinding ultraviolet white. I have reports, unconfirmed by the BBC, but confirmed by my sources in the region, of streaks of light that didn't just hit their targets, they erased them. We are talking about a circular error probable of less than 3 meters. That means Iran can put a missile through your front door from 1,000 miles away, and our billion-dollar interceptors were spinning in circles, chasing ghosts. I've seen the raw footage of the impact at the Nevatim Air Base. The sirens didn't even have time to go off. The Iron Dome, it was like trying to stop a tidal wave with a screen door. But here is what is even more alarming. The missiles that hit, those were their old models. Stay with me because it gets deeper. While everyone was looking at the explosions in the desert, something far more sinister was happening in the Strait of Hormuz. In real time, as the missiles were in the air, Iran activated its layered denial protocol. We are talking about 400 autonomous swarm submarines that the U.S. Navy doesn't even have a signature for yet. These aren't ships. These are suicide drones that live under the water. Reports are coming in that the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group had to move 200 miles back into the Arabian Sea just to avoid total annihilation. Think about that. The symbol of American global power, the aircraft carrier, was forced to flee from a third-rate power. But it's not just the military. As we speak, the global insurance markets for oil tankers are in a state of absolute cardiac arrest. The cost of shipping a single barrel of crude is projected to jump by 400% by Monday morning. If you think gas is expensive now, wait until the Hormuz tax kicks in. We are looking at $12, $15 a gallon at the pump. This isn't speculation, this is the math of war. And why is the mainstream media silent? Because if they admitted that the Strait of Hormuz is effectively under Iranian control, the New York Stock Exchange would drop 3,000 points in 10 minutes. They are keeping you in the dark to protect the billionaires while your 401k sits on a landmine. Having spent years analyzing theater level conflicts, I know how the Pentagon scrubs the data. They'll tell you all missiles were intercepted. They'll show you a video of a small fire in a parking lot. But I've seen the satellite imagery from the private firms that haven't been gagged yet. There are craters at the F 35 hangars that are 40 feet deep. We lost airframes last night. We lost eyes in the sky. But the most shocking part, the thing that should make every American's blood run cold, is what happened to our communication satellites. During the strike, for a window of exactly 11 minutes, the U.S. Central Command lost all uplink capability. We were blind. We were deaf. In those 11 minutes, Iran showed Trump exactly what the true cost is. They showed him that they can turn off the lights of the American empire whenever they choose, but keep watching, because I'm about to reveal the secret deal happening behind the scenes between Tehran, Moscow, and Beijing that makes this a global death sentence for the US dollar. It makes me angry. As a Marine, it sickens me. We send our sons and daughters over there. We spend trillions of dollars. And for what? To be humiliated by a nation that we were told was on the verge of collapse? You've worked hard your whole life. You've played by the rules. You deserve to know the truth. You deserve to know that your government is gambling with your life and your bank account to maintain a tough guy image on the world stage. They want you to feel safe so you keep spending, but the reality is that the wolves are already inside the fence. I feel the grief of those families who don't even know yet that their loved ones are in the crosshairs of a war we cannot win. And I feel the pride of what America used to be, a country that didn't have to lie about its military capabilities because we were actually the best. Now we are a paper tiger with a loud roar and no claws. This is happening right now. As I am recording this, my sources tell me that wave two of the Iranian mobilization is currently fueling up. We are talking about the Sajil solid fuel missiles. These don't take hours to prep. They can launch in 6 minutes. The U.S. State Department has quietly issued a level 4 do not travel for the entire region, but they haven't made a press release about it. Why? Because they don't want to panic. But you should be alert. This could drop at any hour. The next 48 hours will determine if we enter a regional conflict or a third world war. And if you think Russia's going to sit this one out, you haven't been paying attention. My intelligence contacts in Eastern Europe are reporting a massive movement of S-400 missile systems into southern Iran. Russia isn't just supporting Iran, they are using Iran as a proxy to dismantle the U.S. military once and for all. Let's look at the true cost Trump was shown. Each interceptor missile we fire, the SM-3, cost roughly $12 million. Iran is firing drones that cost $20,000. To stop a 2 million wave of drones, we are spending 1.2 billion in interceptors. We are literally bankrupting ourselves in real time. We have a magazine depth of maybe 300 interceptors in the entire theater. Iran has an inventory of over 20,000 drones and 5,000 ballistic missiles. They can stay in the fight for months. We run out of ammo in a week. This is what military intelligence actually looks like. It's not about who has the flashiest jet. It's about who has the deepest magazine and the shortest supply line. Iran is fighting in their backyard. We are fighting from across the ocean with a supply chain that is currently being harassed by the Houthis in the Red Sea. Stay with me because I'm about to get to the most terrifying revelation of all, the secret code red message that was sent from Tehran to the White House at 4:12 a.m. I know this is hard to hear. I know you want to go back to the news and hear that everything is fine, but fine is a lie. If you leave this video now, you are going back to an inferior stream of information that is designed to keep you compliant. By the end of this, you will understand the one thing Trump isn't telling you in his victory speeches. You will understand why the win he's claiming is actually the final signature on the death warrant of the American Middle East policy. So, what did Iran show Trump? What was the true cost that made the administration suddenly pivot from fire and fury to all is well? It wasn't just the missiles, it wasn't just the drones, it was the Dimona option. During the height of the strike, 3 Iranian Fatah missiles didn't hit air bases, they didn't hit cities, they performed a high altitude precision flyover of the Dimona nuclear facility. They didn't drop a warhead, they dropped a message. The telemetry data, which I have seen, shows that those missiles stayed within 100 meters of the most sensitive nuclear site in the Middle East. It was a demonstration of absolute surgical dominance. Iran was saying, we can turn your entire country into a radioactive wasteland in 6 seconds, and there is nothing you or the Americans can do to stop it. That is the true cost. The cost of a war with Iran is no longer just high, it is total. It is the end of the state of Israel and the end of the U.S. presence in the region. Trump saw the footage. He saw the kill chain that the Iranians have established. He realized that the U.S. Navy is currently sitting in a shooting gallery where the targets are our billion-dollar ships and the shooters are teenagers with iPads in a bunker in Tabriz. But as bad as that is, it's not even the most shocking development. Because while we were focused on Iran, a third player just entered the game, and they brought something with them that renders our nuclear deterrent completely useless. In my years analyzing theater level conflicts, I have never seen a shift this fast. While the media was screaming about the win, a Russian Il-76 transport plane landed at Mehrabad Airport. Its cargo, the Krasuka 4 electronic warfare system. This isn't just a jammer. This is a system that can blind GPS-guided munitions within a 300-mile radius. That means our smart bombs become dumb rocks. Our tomahawks will hit the ocean. Our F-35s will be flying blind. Iran didn't just show Trump the cost of war, they showed him that the U.S. no longer has a technological advantage. We are entering a post-American era in the Middle East, and it is happening in real time right under your nose. So what happens tomorrow? First, you're going to see a diplomatic surge. The media will call it de-escalation. It's not, it's a surrender. You will see the U.S. quietly begin to pull assets out of the region under the guise of routine rotation. Second, the price of gold and silver is going to decouple from the paper markets. If you have your wealth in digital digits, you are at risk. When the true cost of this war hits the commodities market, the dollar is going to take a hit it may never recover from. Third, and most importantly, you are going to see Iran's proxies, Hezbollah, the PMF, the Houthis, begin a coordinated strangulation of every U.S. base in the region. They don't need to invade, they just need to stop the food and the fuel. They are going to starve the American empire out of the Middle East. Trump is calling it a win because he has an election to think about. The media is calling it a win because they have a status quo to maintain. But I am calling it what it is, a strategic catastrophe. Iran showed Trump the true cost, and Trump blinked. The problem is, once you blink in that part of the world, you never get your eyes back on the prize. Stay tuned to this channel. I am monitoring the satellite feeds every hour. I have contacts in the Pentagon who are terrified of what's coming in Wave 56. I will bring you the truth that the mainstream media is too cowardly to report.